Lisa here with a love note for January 13th, 2021. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. When my guides come in the morning, they often have like dual messages. First, they'll start with like messages for me that are very personal in nature about my life and kind of my struggles and my opportunities and my purpose and that kind of thing. And then they'll go into bigger kind of planetary stuff that is intended for sharing. Sometimes they want me to share the personal stuff as well. Today's not one of those days. Yay. But one thing they did share this morning, which in the personal part that I do want to share is this is how I know they love me, right? They said, "Go find some joy and grace today. Let your Jeep inspire you." I'm like, yeah, you don't have to tell me twice to go get in the Jeep, even if it's only like 50 degrees. I don't care. That to me was the best encouragement that they've given me all day. So, whatever it is that might bring you joy and inspiration, I think that's encouragement to go do it. I think they were also encouraging me to go have some fun because today's topic is a little heavy. And it's this idea of sacred rage. Someone asked the question about what is sacred rage when I had used that phrase before. And a lot of us might be feeling this sense of sacred rage. And on one hand, it's a thing, and many people have reason and justification for being frustrated and upset right now. And on the other hand, we're being told, oh, but the solution lies, from a higher perspective, and don't get bogged down in all the turmoil, and don't let that be what determines how you move forward. And so, in my frustrated self, I'm like, how the hell do you square both of these? How do we operate from a higher perspective, from a place of love, while still passionately opposing those things that are the opposite of love. And so that's kind of what today's message was a bit about. They described sacred rage as passionate opposition to darkness eroding or destroying what we hold dear, and encouraging a willingness to use our power, our passion, our voice to illuminate the shadow and pave the way for something better in tactics and strategies rooted in and honoring love. So they gave the example of like a mama bear. Um, we all know when we're out hiking, especially, in places like Colorado, or like I was in Alaska one time and we went out on the edge of this land. We were looking at a glacier that was like across the water, and no kidding, right behind me, like 20 feet or so, runs a bear cub across the trail. And I thought, oh gosh, because no matter where a bear cub is, there's probably a bear mama somewhere. And one of the most dangerous places to be is between a bear cub and its mama. Um, because mama bears protect their young. They protect what's meaningful to them. They protect what matters to their heart. And so many of us have been in that situation. I can be nice. I can be all, little Miss Sunshine and jolly and whatever, until I have to go all mama bear. And then my mouth, oh my gosh. I mean, I would make sailors blush, and I'm not very nice. And this is something that I am striving to get better about. But I know that when that sacred rage is ignited, or when my mama bear side has to come out, I can forget the love and the light that's inside of me, and turn pretty ugly pretty fast. And I think the encouragement today with them was twofold. Number one, remember that even when we feel the sacred rage, even when we're protecting what's important to us, that to work to do that from our hearts, to view the situation, to view the people, to view whatever through the eyes of our heart rather than through the eyes of intense judgment. One of the things that came up was that, and I thought this was pretty profound, hearts don't get caught up in the divisiveness or in the divisive side of isms. Hearts don't get caught up in the divisive side of isms. It's wounded and toxic minds that do that. And that's why it's important to heal ourselves and to heal, our own thinking if we're going to play a role in helping to heal the planet or heal the nation. Um, the other thing, too, though, is this idea that things have to grow and change. Even mama bears have to let their cubs grow. Yeah, as a mama bear myself who has a daughter that's getting ready to graduate high school this year, part of my job, is not only protecting her, but also encouraging and empowering her to this next independent moment, in her life. And some of us look at the things around us, our families, our country, our world, our whatever, and never want anything to change. And the truth is, that's not the natural state, the natural way that things operate. There's always perpetual change. And for some, that is incredibly uncomfortable. And the thought of, things taking flight or, that next stage in evolution is terribly uncomfortable. But what they said is that even bear cubs grow and change, much like our family, our nation, and our world. We can't allow it to stay little forever. Part of being a parent is promoting and encouraging growth to the next stage, standing up for the child or the country or the world when they need it. That's one of the things that we do. And also empowering them to grow and improve and stand on their own when they can. Then they said it's actually selfish for us to encourage guilt and shame, um, and encouraging our kids or our world to stay small because it's more comfortable for us. Hmm. That it's pretty selfish to discourage change because it makes us uncomfortable, even when it can benefit others, even when it can benefit the nation or the world. In Oklahoma, we often have this saying, you're rising above your raisin, as if that's a horrible thing, that, oh, you're doing better or think you're better than your parents or your family or whatever. But many of us actually hope that for our kids, for our state, for our community, for our nation, is that it continues to improve and get better. And that part of, this mama bear thing or even sacred rage can be this idea of being a champion of growth, of leading with love, especially when our mama bear side comes out. So yeah, sometimes mama bear has to be there, but we can lead with love in a way that's not dehumanizing to other people, that doesn't put everyone, on one side or the other in a great big basket and paint them, with the very worst of what is in that basket. Um, then they said if we are all connected, oof, if we are all connected, then these are all our children, even the ones who make us shake our heads in frustration, anger, and disappointment. Even the ones that we're most likely to judge, we're being asked to recognize that in a bigger perspective, we're all part of a bigger one. Sometimes we might have been the one that's causing frustration, anger, judgment within our own families. Who knows? But then they talked about sacred rage, and then they threw out the big gun. They were talking about illuminating the shadow to pave the way for something better. And they said, if Jesus hadn't died, which undoubtedly sparked sacred rage at the time, there would have been no resurrection. Didn't see that one coming. So this idea that sometimes things have to shift or change to allow something even better to come through. They said transformation requires a change from the old way. Birds fly from the nest, kids go off to college and become independent with their lives. Nations are forced to address systemic failures that deny their values and promises to all people. Even planets get to grow. So, bottom line, as a free will people, we have choices. And they said we can resist change and play small, or we can recognize the problems and use our courage and our big, loving mama bear hearts to help usher in something better. Empower change. That's why we're here, to empower change at this time. I love that they use that phrase. It's the name of my company. So Empower change. I love it. But empowering change, they said, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's needed, and it's happening. It is happening. So we are either helping promote and foster that change, or we're going to get run over standing in the way of that change. And really, the decision is up to us. Then, as always, they remember that you are loved. They said, remember that everyone else is loved too. And they invite us to go pay our love forward, to help those who probably most have the wounded minds and the toxic minds remember that they too are loved, because perhaps that can be one element to healing, even though it feels really uncomfortable, right? I have to breathe out on that one. That can feel uncomfortable. But when we use our big loving hearts to help others remember that they are loved too, that's when heart medicine helps to heal the planet. And that's what we're being asked to do. So happy January 13th. Here's your love note, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow.